Alright, welcome to another tutorial of Proplan YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to have another discussion of the most commonly tested question in Excel Igcse Math Paper 2. So we're going to have a series, and I've always asked you, if you are new to Proplan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload further tutorials, you'll be notified. So in this particular video, we are going to have a discussion on the first topic here is actually volume and surface area of solids. So you need to be well anchored, well prepared on how to answer such kind of questions that are displayed here. Now we are going to have a discussion of this, whereby we are told the diameter of the sphere is x. We have a pyramid at this point. Also, we are told that the vertex A of the pyramid is vertically above the center or of the base, so that AB equals to AC equals to AD equals to AE. And further, we are told that BC equals to X centimeters, CD equals to 2X centimeters, and AO equals to 5X centimeters. And all this X is actually related to the diameter of this sphere we have at this given point. So meaning, if we know the value of X, we are going to use it in the second solid that we have at this particular point. So we have given further information that the volume of the sphere is 288 pi centimeter cubic. We are given the volume of the sphere as 288 pi centimeters cubic. So this brings us at a point of trying to identify the most important formulas that we are going to make use at this particular point. So I will start by highlighting the formulas that we're going to use. Number one is volume of a sphere. Volume of a sphere is one of the formula we're going to use in this question, and that formula is V is equals to 4/3 pi r cubed. So this formula is going to become handy when we are working out this question. The second formula that we are going to use at this particular point is actually area of a triangle. So you need to remember that area of a triangle is actually a half base times height. Area is equals to a half base times height. And sometimes also we can be given a situation whereby we need to find area equals to a half AB sine of theta. So you need also to remember this formula, because we are going to make use of it somewhere here. You have to remember another concept that you need to remember is actually Pythagoras theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals to c squared. This is Pythagoras theorem. Remember that. Remember also, area of a rectangle is given by length times width. So these are the key formulas we are going to employ in the process of working out this particular question. All right, now we need to start it up, because we are told that the volume of the sphere is 288 pi centimeter square. The volume, we are told that the volume of the sphere is 208 pi centimeter cubic. So we are going to make use of this formula that we have mentioned at this point, so that we can be able to start and say. So we're going to start off and say, let me just make use of this space here. Yeah, so we're going to say volume equals to 4/3 pi r cubed. But in this case here, we know that the volume is 288 pi. So we're going to say 4/3 times pi times the radius. The radius actually in this particular question, we are told that x is the diameter. So meaning that we're going to say x over 2 cubed is equivalent to 288. So that we can be able to try as much and find the value of x, and remember the value of x, and this is pi at that given point. So in order to work out this, we're going to say I'm going to multiply by 3, so I'm going to multiply by 3 both sides and divide by 4 both sides, and I'm going to remain with pi equals to, not that. All right, let me simplify. Okay, let me simplify first this so that we can be able to work it out. This is going to be 4 over 3 pi times x cubed over 8 equals to 288 pi. So at this given point, I can multiply this 3 and 8 so that I'll have actually, because 4 and 8 can cancel out in the process of simplifying, I'm going to have 2 at this point. So I'll end up having x this 4 will go here 2 times. So I'm going to remain with what? I'm going to have pi times I'm going to have 3. I'm going to have pi x cubed over 6 is equal to 288 pi. So at this given point, also we know that at this point also we know that this pi and this pi will cancel out. So we shall have what? We shall have x cubed equals to 288 times 6, and if I just use my calculator at this point, I'll say 288 times 6, this gives me 1728. So once I have 1728, I'll say this is x cubed equals to 1728, so that I can be able to find cube root both sides. I can be able to find the cube root here and the cube. Okay, in order to find the value of x, x is going to be the cube root of 1728, whereby I'm going to apply the cube root for this value and check what answer is it giving me. I'm going to get nothing other than 12. I'm getting 12. So x equals to 12 centimeters. So we know that the radius of this particular pyramid here is actually 12 centimeters. So once we know that, we can be able to use that information, because if I can be able to draw a sketch of that pyramid, actually that pyramid is like this. Hope it will look nice. I'm trying to draw the pyramid the way it was. It is. So we have our pyramid there. So let us try and fill in the most important information. We are told that BC is x. So if x is 12, so BC is also 12 centimeters at this particular point. And then, of course, this is BC, and this is actually D here. And then we have the vertex. We have another point E on the other end. So which means that once we know this information, then we are told that CD is 2x. So CD is going to be 24 at that particular point because it's 2x, isn't it? Then we can now drop a perpendicular. We are told there is a perpendicular line. There is a perpendicular line at this point that comes to a point we have here, which is called O, and that perpendicular height is actually 5x, and that 5x now, it means that the height of this pyramid is going to be actually 60, because it's 5x. The height is going to be 60. So the most important thing we need to know is the slant height. What is the slant height? What's the slant height of this pyramid? So we can be able to extract that right angled triangle from that particular point. So, but for us to find slant height, the slant height, we need to know actually what the distance EC is, and EC, if I use Pythagoras theorem, I'm going to, because the base is a rectangle, I'm going to say 12 squared plus 24 squared will, and then we find the square root, will give us the diagonal of the base. So this is going to be 12 squared plus 24 squared. If we find the square root of that plus 24 squared, the square root of that is 12 root 5. 12 root 5. So EC is 12 root 5. But the distance, therefore, OC from the center to the base here is going to be a half of that. So a half of that is going to be what? Is going to be 6 root 5 centimeters. So which means that 6 root 5 centimeters. So meaning that from O to C is 6 root 5. But what we are targeting to find is the slant height of this particular pyramid. So which means that I'll extract a triangle at that given point, and this is my V and this is my C. This is actually 60, yeah, because the height was actually 5x. X is 12 times 5, we get 60, and the distance from O to C we have gotten is to be 6 root 5. So we need to find this slant height at that given point. So that is going to be what? VC is going to be square root of 60 squared plus 6 root 5 squared. If I work out this in a calculator, squared plus 5 root 6, or rather 6 root 5, squared, I get my answer like that. Then square root of that answer, I'm getting 6 root 105. So this is 6 root 105. So that is the slant height of this. Now, once we have the slant height of this, we are going to use it because this slant height will enable us to work out the perpendicular height of triangle VBD and the perpendicular height of triangle VBC. Yeah, so that now let me just move it a little bit here. Okay, so let me just move this space. All right, so we can be able to make use of this space. Now, for triangle, let's consider triangle V. Actually, this is V is not really clear here. V, I believe now it's clear. Triangle, let's consider triangle VCD. So we need to find this perpendicular height for that triangle. This is going to be equal to, because this slant height and a half of 24 is going to be 12. So we shall have a triangle that is like this. So meaning if we decide and call this M, and this is going to be 12, and this other part is going to be 12. This part is going, because the entire length is 24, this part will be 12 and the other one will be 12. So this is 12 here, and then the this slant height VC, I call that M. VC is the one that is actually 6 root 1 of 5. 6 root 1 of 5. So we can be able to find using Pythagoras theorem. We're going to say this is going to be what? Vm is going to be square root of 6 root 1 of 5 squared minus 12 squared. So if we work out that, if I square that, minus 12 squared, then I find the square root. I'm getting my answer as 6 root 1 or 1. So meaning that the height of this triangle VCD is 6 root 101. So that means we are going to use the base and the height to find the area of this triangle here, but there are two of them. There is another one on the other side, so we're going to multiply by 2. Remember, we need to find the area of this triangle, the area of the other triangle, the area of this side, and the area of this one. So VCD is going to be equal to triangle CBE on the other side. So we can be able to say area equals to a half base times height, and we're going to multiply by 2 because there are two of them. So this is going to be a half times the base. The base is actually 24. The base of this triangle is 24 times the height, which is 6 root 101. And then we are going to say times 2 because there are two of them. So if we work out that, let's see what we are going to get. Times 2 times 1 over 2, then times the base, which is actually 24. I'm getting 1447.18. Okay, so 1447.18 centimeter square. Now the next part that we need to find is now also the height. We need to find the height, perpendicular height of this other triangle here. We need to find the perpendicular height of this other triangle here, but of course we know the slant height will be the same as the one that we got on the other part, but the base is going to be 6 at this point. So okay, so which part information that don't we need at this given point? Okay, so I can make use of this space here. Can make use of this space at this given point. Okay, so for this triangle that we have at this point here, we are now talking about triangle. This is B, C, V. So we are looking for this height for this case, because this is 12 centimeters, this will be 6, so we have a right angle here. And this height, this land height is actually this one, which we had gotten as 6 root 105. 6 root 105. So in order to find this height here, we're going to say V, let's call this N because we call this M, is N. So Vn is equal to the square root, Pythagoras theorem, 6 squared, no, rather, 6 root 105 squared plus 6 minus 6 squared, that's going to be equivalent to what? So we are going to say 6 root 105 squared plus minus 6 squared, that gives me 3744. So square root of 3744, if we work it out, square root to that, our answer becomes 12 root 26. 12 root 26 as actually the height of this triangle. So in order to find the area of this triangle, remember now we are going to say area equals to a half base. Our base is 12 times the height. The height is the one that we have gotten here, 12 root 26 times, there are two of them, this one here, and on the other side we also have another one which has the same dimension. So if we work out this, we are going to get three. Working out the area of those two triangles, we are going to get the answer equivalent to 734.25. 734.25 actually is going to be 26 because there is another the value next is more than 5, which is 8, so meaning that this is centimeter square. But remember, surface area includes even the base, of this pyramid. So the base area of the base equals to length times width at this given point. So this is going to be the length is going to be 24, the width is going to be 12. So working it out, 12 and 24 gives us 288. Yeah, length times width gives us 288. Therefore we can now say total surface area is going to translate to what? If you work it out, you are going to say we are going to add the area of the two triangles here, so which is actually equivalent to 1447.18 plus the area of these two triangles that we have here also, which is 734.26 plus 288. So if we add the two, all the areas, now we need to add the 734 here, 0.26. So if we add all these, we are actually getting 2469.44. 2469.44. I'm getting 2469.44 centimeter square, and in this case we are supposed to give correct to the nearest centimeter square. So means our final answer becomes 2469 centimeter square as the surface area of our pyramid. So basically that's what you are supposed to do when you're given a question like this, because you may be given different solids and how their volume and surface area relate, you need to remember how to work out that. Before we move to the next part, remember how to work out volume of a pyramid, because volume equals to a third base area times height. That is the volume of a pyramid. Yeah, and also volume of a cone is a third base area times height. So for volume of this pyramid is this. Remember how to work out surface area of a cone, so that whenever you are going to sit for that exam, already you have covered all the areas. Yeah, remember there's nobody who knows the kind of question that you are going to do. So that is why most of my videos I write them as predicted concept predictions. So which means that those are possible questions you are going, possible topics that will be tested. Yeah, don't be cheated anywhere that anybody knows how this exam will be. But if you know the concept, you are not going, you shall never go wrong. Yeah? This is not the time to listen to motivational speakers in terms on how to pass, but going down into detail to go through all the areas that you covered in class in order to perform well. Yeah, there's nothing like I just come tell you best tips to get grade 9 without you sitting down to do all that you expected to do. And if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload more tutorials like these ones, you'll be notified. So without much ado, I would like us to now move to something else. Try to move to another area, another concept area that you need to cover in order for you to prepare well for your exam. So leave a comment down below if this video was helpful, so that as I'm going through it, I'll be able to know indeed this video was of great help to you. Which topic do you really find more trouble? Which topic do you find trouble answering? Which topic do you feel that if this topic come to my exam, I'll really have a tough day ahead? Which topic is that? Then if that topic you know it, if you know that topic, then it means that this is the time you need to leave a comment down below here, so that immediately I'm done with this, I can go and check so that I can give you another video on the same. All these videos that you will see I'm uploading, actually these are requests that have been made by some of my students to go through them so that they can also feel comfortable. So don't fear, just leave a comment down below there to show that there's an area you need some help. Right, so we are done with surface area and volume of a pyramid. Let's see another area that you need actually to focus on before your May June exams. We are done with this guy. Goodbye. Let's look at this other guy who is here. This guy is saying what? This is a circle theorem. Yeah. Yeah. So I've decided to redraw this so that I can be able to answer this question, because this is an overlay. So this is actually, this point is actually B. Yeah. And extend this to A. And then we have this point C, and this angle is given as 48. There is another point F here, and let me just move it. F is somewhere running like this and then going straight to point that. So we have F. So that's the figure that we have, and we ought to work out a few things. We are supposed to find angle DFE. We are finding angle DFE. So we are working out the value of this angle here. So which means for us to work out this angle, So there are some things that I need to us to remember that a radius forms 90 degrees with the tangent. So meaning this is 90 degrees. Then having this 48 at this point, we can be able to use that information in order to work out the value of this angle at that point, because this is O. So angle BOD, this angle here is going to be equal to this angle and this angle added subtracted from 180. So meaning that I'll now start by saying that angle B or D is going to be equal to 180 minus 90 plus 48. So this is actually going to be 180 minus 138 degrees. So if I subtract the two, I'm going to get what? I'm going to get 100 and actually I'm going to get what? This one I'm going to get 48. If I subtract these two, I'm going to get 42 degrees. So meaning that this angle here is actually 42 degrees. So once I know that that is 42 degrees, there's another important concept that I need to remember. Now remember that angle at the center is 2 times angle at the circumference. So if I have angle at the center here as if I have an angle at the circumference, this one is going to be 2x. Angle at the center is 2 times the angle at the circumference. So meaning I will be able to, I'm going to work out the value of this angle here. Yeah, I'm going to find this angle. And how will I find angle EOD? Angle EOD is going to be 180 degrees minus 42 degrees, and that is going to be 138 degrees. So this angle here is going to be 138 degrees, and that 138 degrees is actually related to the angle F here. So which means for I to get F, I'm going to divide 138 divided by 2. So we can say therefore angle, the one that we are told here, the one that we are told to find, which is actually DFE, DFE, angle DFE is going to be 138 divided by 2, which is going to be 669, which is going to be 69 degrees. So the value of this angle is actually 69 degrees. So as much as you are preparing for your exam, don't forget that there are some questions that you'll be asked, and especially I've told you angle at the center is equal to the angle at the circumference. So if this is actually theta, this will be 2 theta. That's one of the property that you need to know. The second property that you need to know is angle subtended by the same chord. Angle subtended by the same chord. So if this is a chord subtending an angle there, yeah, we say this is B. If this is 30, then the same angle here will be 30 degrees. So this is going also to be 30 degrees. So again, you need also to remember this, and if this is the diameter, it subtends a right angle or 90 degrees on the circumference, so long as this is actually the diameter, it subtends a right angle. Even down here, it will form a right angle. Also, don't forget another important circle theorem rule, opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, it will just go like this. Opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180 degrees. So meaning that if this is x, this must be 180 minus x. If this is 150, this other will be 30 degrees. So those are some of the laws that you need to remember. And don't forget, and the one that I was almost forgetting and it may be asked, is this one here. If you are given a tangent, angles in alternate segment. So if you have a chord here and there is this angle given at this point, then the angle here is actually equal to this angle. These two angles are equal, angles in alternate segment. So if you are told that this is 70 degrees and then you are asked to find this angle here, you need to say this is also 70 degrees because this angle and this one are in alternate segment. So once you understand each of the uh, properties of circle theorem, then it will become very easy for you to answer questions from angles, right? So now changing the gear to the next possible question that you can be asked, and let's see which question is that. Commonly asked questions. The moment you go to that exam, you must have some questions that you are sure that this one will be there. So let us look at this one here. We are given functions. I don't know why functions guy is also appearing once again here. He has featured in about 2 videos now. So we are told that f of x is 2x minus 3. F of x is 2x minus 3. G of x is given as x of 3x plus 1. Is there another information we are provided? Okay, then we are told A, state the value of x that cannot be included in any domain of G of x. State the value of x that cannot be included in any domain of Gx. So that is part A. What you need to remember, the value of x that cannot be included in the domain of G is a value that gives us a 0 at the denominator. So we don't want at any occasion to have a 0 at the denominator, because if you do that, you are going to have a function that is undefined. So you are going to say that that value is 3x plus 1 is equals to 0. Then we're going to solve for that value and get to know which exact value are we talking about. This is going to be 3x equals to minus 1 divided by 3. So the value that we are asked is 1 over 3. So for this function, x can never be equal to negative 3. Then the next part that we are told that find g f of x. B, find g f of x. Find g of f of x. So this means, if you are given a question like this, this means in the function g, anywhere you have x, you are going to substitute f of x. That's what that is telling you. Now that means what? If we are going to substitute that, we are going to say, because our g of x is going to our g of x is actually this thing that we have here, then anywhere we have x, we are going to put f of x. So, and our f of x is 2x minus 3. 2x minus 3. So, which means that this is going to be x, that is 2x minus 3. We say that anywhere we have x, we shall substitute this guy here. So, over 3 into 2x minus 3, then plus 1. So if we try to work out this, what do we get? This becomes 2x minus 3 over, this becomes 6x minus 9 plus 1. Finally, we end up having 2x minus 3 over 6x minus 8 as our final answer in that particular case. All right, so we also have a question here. We are told express the inverse function g inverse. We are finding g inverse, the inverse function of g. So the inverse function of g, we are going to work it like this. Remember, our g of x is what? Inverse of a function. We are going to follow easy steps. G of x is actually x over 3x plus 1. Then the first thing to do here, you are going to change g of x to y. So this becomes y equals to x over 3x plus 1. The next step is to switch x and y. We are going to switch the values of x and y. So meaning where you have x, you're going to write y, and where you have y, you're going to write x. Simple as that. So this is going to be x is equals to y over 3y plus 1. The next step is what? The next step, when you are finding the inverse of a function, is to make y subject. Now make y subject of the formula. So this is where it gets tricky, because you will be given questions that involve quadratic equations. So that's where it becomes actually of a challenge, and that's area you need to use completing the square method. And if you don't know how to work it out, I've worked it in the previous video so that you can be able to see those questions. How are you supposed to do them? Now in this point, I'm going to multiply this part both sides, and then this is going to be 3y plus 1 times x equals to y, and this becomes 3xy plus x equals to y. I'm going to put all those terms. I'm going to put, because I want to make the subject of the formula, I'm going to put those terms with y on one side. So this one here, I can take I can say this can be written as 3xy minus y equals to negative x, right? So I can factor the value of x here, and rather I can factor the value of y out. So I'll have y into 3x minus 1 equals negative x here. Then I can divide by 3x minus 1 over 3x minus 1. This one is going to cancel out. We remain with y equals to minus x over 3x minus 1. So this is exactly what you are going to have. Now you cannot leave your answer like this. You are going to, now we can therefore say our inverse is going to be g inverse. That's how inverse function is written, is going to be equal to x over 3x minus 1. So if you work it out, and again you also find this actual negative 1 here, you write it as x over 1 minus 3x, still is going to be the same thing either way, because if you factor negative out, you divide. If you divide, you factor negative out here, then you're going to cancel the negatives, and still you're going to have this expressed in a better way. So that is functions, finding inverse of functions, and also working out composite functions like this. These are just composite functions. So I think we have another area that we need to focus on. So let me just try to look for more space, and we can be able to proceed. Yeah. Was this video helpful? Did you learn something? Okay. I still repeat, if there is a topic that you feel that I really need to know how to go about this topic, or there's some areas I'm getting some confusion, you need to let me know so that we can be able to focus on it. And the end of the day, you'll also be able to learn and do better in your exams. So let me take you this opportunity to wish you all the best as you are waiting to sit for your exams. And remember to come back also to mention whether you really benefited and whether some topics, some questions appeared that we have covered in this area. So let's see the next area. Yeah, we are done with you guys, so we need to move to something else. All right, write as a single fraction. Have you ever seen a question like this ones? Write as a single fractions. So that one, how are you going to go about it? Writing as a single fraction. This one, we are told that we are given a 2. It's actually 2 over 3x, then plus 4 over 5x, and then we have minus 9 over 10x. Okay, so I can see the LCM of all these numbers is actually 30x. If I multiply all two by 30x, what am I going to get? Times 30x times 30x times 30x. So that we can be able to simplify. So meaning that this one will cancel out. I'll have here what? 10. This one will cancel out with this. I'm going to have 6. This one will cancel out with this. I'm going to have 3. So at the end of the day, I'm going to remain having here, I'll be having 20 plus, this is going to be 24 minus 27. Simplifying this, we are going to get what? You need to add this and this, subtract 27. We're going to get 17 over 30x as our final answer in that case. That's how pretty easy you are supposed to do this particular question. Now let's see whether there is another question that we need really to do. Let's see if there is another question. Let's see if there is another question. Yeah, let me see. We have no. This marks the end of this tutorial. So once I've prepared another concept that we are going to go through, remember, more is coming. You need to subscribe. See you in the next video. Welcome to another tutorial of Learning YouTube channel. In this particular video, we're going to have a look at how to solve common topics which are tested in Igcse. So we're going to start with one of the questions from the topic of ratios, and we are told that Alville bakes a cake. She uses flour, butter, and sugar such that the weight of flour to the weight of butter is 6:5, and the weight of butter to the weight of sugar is 3:2. Alville uses 120 grams of sugar, and then we are supposed to work out the weight of flour Alville uses. Now, in order to work out this question, something that we need to appreciate here, or something that we need to do in order to understand how to work out this question, is that we're going to write the ratio flour ratio butter, right? The second component we have is also butter to sugar, so we are going to say butter again to sugar. The first ratio is 6:5, followed by the second ratio is 3:2. So at this given point, what we are going to do is that we are going to group these two together, and then we are trying to ensure that butter is the same. Now, in order to make this to be the same, what we're going to do, we're going to set this part here. We're going to set this part here to be 3 and this other part. And I'm multiplying by 3 because of these 3 that we have here, because we want to make b values be the same. So this 5 will be multiplied in the second bracket there and 3 multiplied here. So we're going to have flour is to butter is to butter is to sugar. So which means that this is going to become what? This is going to be 18 ratio 15 ratio 15 ratio 10. Now you can see we have be the same, so you can therefore say flour ratio butter ratio sugar is actually 18 is to 15 is to 10. But something else that we are told here is that Alvil uses 120 grams of sugar. So meaning that 10 is equals to 120 grams. What about 43 is going to be equivalent to what? So because if I add here, to get ratio, and actually the total ratio in this case is going to be 18 plus 15 plus 10. So meaning that total ratio is actually 43. So meaning that's why I'm asking that. So we are going to do cross multiplication. So at that point we're going to have 43 times 120 grams divide by 10, and that translates to what? If you work that using your calculator, you are going to get your answer there to be 516. This is 516 grams. So the total grams are being used for this particular production of a cake is 516. So, but in this question, we are asked work out the weight of flour Alvir uses. Flour is actually 18. So, yeah, you can see flour is 18. So we're going to say, in order to work out the mass for flour is 18 over 43 times 516. If we can put in our calculator, this is going to be 18 over 43 times 516, translate to 216. This is 216. So if you work out this, it's actually equivalent to 216. So 216 grams. That is the mass that are very used for this production of the cake, especially in flour. So we need to also move further and try to look at the next topic. And the next topic now, let me just move on so that we part. The next part is functions. You may be given in your exams to come, you may be given a question to functions, and you are expected, for instance, there to state in which part, which value of x should be excluded, that should not be included in that domain of x. Now, in that case, when you have fractions, the moment you have fractions, the part that should not be included is a part that results to a negative result to 0 at the denominator. If you have a situation whereby you have 0 at the denominator, that value should be excluded because the function will become undefined. But if you have a square root in a function that you are told to check which value that has no solution or should be excluded, is a value that results to a negative number when you have a square root. But if you have a fraction, for instance here, we are told state which value of x cannot be included in the domain of g. G is a function given here, and g is actually given as 5 over 5 over 2x minus 9. So we need a value that should be excluded is a value that results to 0 at the denominator, because if you put in your calculator 5 over 0, that will be math error. So we're going to say 2x minus 9 is equals to 0 is the value of x that should be excluded. So we shall take 9 on the other side. We shall have 2x equals to 9. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Our x becomes what? Our x becomes 4.5. So for part A, 4.5 should be excluded. The next part is to find. In part B, we are supposed to find f, find f g of 4, f g of 4. So meaning whenever you are given this kind of question, the first thing to do is to work out g of 4 first. Our g is this, so g of 4 is going to be 5 over 2 times 4, then minus 9, which is going to be negative. Actually, it's going to be 5 over 8 minus 9, which is going to be 5 over negative 1, which is negative 5. That is actually g of 4. Then we need to substitute this because our g of 4 is the whole of this function here is the one that is now negative 5. So we need now to find what is the value, actually what's the value of what? We need to find now, because this function here can be replaced with negative 5. Now the next part that we are going to do is to work out f of negative 5, because g of 4 is negative 5. Now the function f is 5x plus 7. So 5x, our x is negative 5 plus 7. This becomes what? Negative 25 plus 7. So the final answer becomes negative 18. The final answer at that particular point is negative 18. Now, you need to know how to work out. This is actually composite functions. So those are some of the areas that you need really to prepare on in order to prepare for your exams and ensure that you're going to get a good grade. So the next area that we are going to look at is how to find inverse of a quadratic function. So we're going to follow step by step and see what you're supposed to do whenever you are given that. And we are told here that the function h is such that h of x, such that x is mapped to 3x squared minus 12x plus 8, where x is greater than 2, express the inverse function in the form that is given. So in this part here, now we have h such that x is mapped to 3x squared minus 12x plus 8. So the first step, whenever you are trying to find the inverse of a function, the first thing is to change this part to y. So we shall have y equals to 3x squared minus 12x plus 8, like that. So once you have that, then next is switch. We are going to say switch x and y. So meaning where you have y, you write x, and where you have x, you write y. So that's going to be x equals to 3y, we write properly, 3y squared minus 12y plus 8. The next step is actually to make y the subject of the formula, make y subject. Now we can start by writing 3y squared minus 12y plus 8 equals to x. So at this point, there's no way, because this is a quadratic equation, where there is no way you can be able to make y the subject other than just completing the square. So I'll have to write y squared minus 12y is equals to x minus 8. I'm just taking this value on this other side. So in the process of completing the square, so that I can be able to make y the subject, I'm going to have 3y squared minus 12y is equals to x minus 8, right? So I'm going to factor out 3. So we shall remain with y squared minus 4y equals to 3 minus, note that, equals to x minus 8. Then I'm going to complete the square of this, so we shall have 3 into bracket y minus a half of this is going to be 2, then I'll say squared, then minus the square of this number, so that this is the steps of completing the square. So if you want to complete the square of this, you will take the first part that is having y squared, you just take y. The second part, since it's having just y, you are going to take a half of this number that we have here, it will be 2. Then you will square that part. Because if you are going to expand this, you are going to get y squared minus 4y if you square this part. But you're going to have an extra of this squared outside, so that's why we're subtracting the square of this number here. Then we say this is x minus 8 at that given point. So we shall have 3 into y minus 2 squared, but squaring this, and remember there's this bracket, squaring this becomes 4. 4 times 3 becomes minus 12 equals to x minus 8. All right. So now this becomes 3 into y minus 2 squared equals to x plus 4, then over 3 over 3. This will cancel out. We remain with y minus 2 squared equals to x plus 4 over 3. We can now find square root and find square root both sides. And when you find a square root of a number, remember it becomes what? It becomes plus or minus. So we shall have y minus 2 equals to plus or minus root x plus 4 over 3. All right. So you can see we are actually running out of space. So let me try to move this part that we are having here, so that we can be able to use this space that is. So if so I'm trying to adjust something. Okay, if I take this part, let me try to make use of this space. So if I take this part, I'm having y is equals to 2. I'll take this 2 on the other side, plus or minus square root of x plus 4 over 3. We were told that x is greater than 2. That was the domain of the function. According to this part here, x is greater than 2. So it means now the range is going to be y is greater than 2 always. If you were given 3, you were to say that the range is 3. Yeah. So therefore, this function we're going to take positive value, so that you shall have values more than 2 if you take the positive value. So this is going to be y equals to 2 plus square root of x plus 4 over 3. So if we are to write it in the form that was required, h inverse, like that, then we were to say this is going to be h inverse such that x is being mapped to 2 plus square root of x plus 4 over 3. Now, this is the answer that we were expected to get at this particular point. So having done that and having looked at that, we need now to move to something else so that we can see which other topic are you also supposed to prepare. So also, if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that in time I'm going to, if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that in time I'm going to upload another tutorial, you'll be notified. Right. So see. Right. Another area that we need to look at is whereby that we are told that the mean of the number of goals scored by a hockey team in 8 matches is 6. The mean scored by a hockey team in 8 matches is 6. The team plays 2 more matches and scores K goals in each match. The mean for the number of the goals scored by the hockey team in the 10 matches is 7. So in order to work out this question, because we are supposed to find the value of K, we're going to say number, we're going to say the number of goals, number of goals scored in 8 matches. Because that we are told the mean of the number of goals scored, the mean is actually 6 for these 8 matches. So how many goals were scored in the 8 matches? So we are going to say that's going to be equal to 8 times 6, which translates to 48. Then we are told that now the team again played for 2 more matches, so the total number of matches becomes 10. But the mean for the 10 matches is actually 7. So we're going to say number of goals scored in 10 matches is going to be equal to 10 times 7, which becomes 70. Now the question is, what's the difference? Because if 8 matches, 48, 10 matches, 70, then what is the total number of goals scored in the 2 matches that were played? So we have to say total number of goals scored in the 2 matches is going to be 70 minus 48, and that's going to translate to what? That's going to translate to actually if we subtract, we are going to get 22. But we were told that each match of the 2, each match scored K goals. So K, therefore, K is going to be 22 divided by 2, and that becomes 11. So this question is going to appear in different ways. It may be asked that a student does a given number of tests. In the, maybe if you are told a student did 6 tests, you are given a mean score for the 6 tests. So again, the student sits for another extra 3 tests or 2 tests, depending on the way the question is asked. And also you are given the mean. And then you are asked, find the marks scored in the next tests. So depending the way the question is asked, you'll be in a position to answer depending whether you've understood this. This one, we were given 8 matches, the mean was 6. So to get the total number of goals is 48. 6 times 8. So when they played 2 more matches, the total matches became 10. So if their mean was 7, then the total goals scored was 10 times 7, which is 70. So the number of goals scored in the 2 matches will be 70 minus 48. You get 22. But you are told in the 2 matches, each match, the team scored K goals. Then what's going to be the value of K? See that? So more is yet to be uploaded. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. Also leave a comment down below if you've gotten value from this particular video. See you in the next video. Welcome to another tutorial of Proflan YouTube channel. In this particular video, we are going to have a discussion on some of the most commonly tested topics in your coming exams. So if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload further tutorials, you may be notified. So at this given point, you can see from the on screen here, we have a question to do with inequalities, and then you are supposed to work out and state the inequalities that satisfies this region R. So one of the equation is given, and I'm going to look at the first equation. Here we are told that the equation given as y equals to 2x plus 2. So that one is quite important because we know already that y equals to 2x plus 2. So this is going to enable us to get the inequality direct. And in that way, because for you to state the inequality, you need the equation of that particular line. So which will mean that since we have the equation, what we only need is the sign. So to identify that, we are going to use a point, let's say 0, 0. The point 0, 0 in this region R, because if you look at that region R, we have a point 0, 0, which is in the satisfy, which is satisfy in the equation, which is in the required region. So meaning that since we don't know which inequality we are going to have here, we are going to say y dash 2x plus 2. Y dash 2x plus 2. So what are we going to do with this point 0, 0 that I've mentioned here? What I'm going to do with it is to substitute it to this equation, and I'll have actually 0 here because y value is 0 and x value is 0 there. So which means that I'll substitute 0 where I have y, I'll substitute 0 where I have x, and this is going to be 2 times 0 will be 0 plus 2. So you can see now we have 0 equals to 2, right? So meaning that this inequality is going to be written as, this is how we're going to write this, 0 dash 2. Is 0 greater than 2 or less than 2? Less than, right? So we are going to say the inequality then we have to put here is that 0 is less than or equal to, because this line is actually continuous. If you look at it, is continuous, is a continuous line. So we are going to have the equality part of it. So the inequality for that particular equation is y is less than or equal to 2x plus 2. So that's what you are supposed to do in that particular kind of a question. So let's move to the next equation. I want you to identify, because in this part that we were having here, you see there is this inequality that is actually this inequality that is there is this line that is passing through 0 0. Let's see, it passes, there is this line here that it passes through 0 1 and 1 0. So meaning that we can be able to say that line is passing through 0 1 and it's also passing through 1 0. So from here, remember, for you to find the equation of a line, you need a gradient, and the gradient m is change in y over change in x. So meaning that we can now say, let this be our x2 y2 x1 y1. So which means that we can be able to say that our gradient is y2 minus y1, 0 minus 1 over 1, x2 is 1, because so yeah, the reason as why I've used that is because mostly this gradient is given by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So which means that we are going to substitute the values that we have in order to get the gradient of this line. So meaning that our y2 is 0 minus y1 is 1 over x2 is 1 minus x1 is 0. So that's going to be -1. So the gradient of this line is -1. And you need to remember that equation of a straight line is usually y equals to mx plus c. So what does that mean? That means that we can be able to use, so we can say use the point 0 1. Now use the point 0 1 and the gradient m equals to -1. We're using the point 0 1 and the gradient m is equals to -1. Then substitute them here. Where we have y, we shall write 1. Where we have x, we are going to write 0. Where we have y, we shall substitute 1. And where we have x, we are going to substitute 0. And where we have m, we are going to substitute -1, so that we can be able to find the value of c. And then that is going to be 1 equals to -1 times 0 plus c. Then you see this is going to go to 0. Therefore, we can now say c is equals to actually 1. So meaning that the equation of this line, the equation of our line that we have found, the equation is actually is y equals to -x, because m is -1. So that's why we're saying -x, then plus 1. So we have this as the equation of this line that was passing through the point 0 1 and 1 0. Now we are going to follow the same procedure and process the way we did here in order to find which inequality are we going to use at this given point. So at this point, we are going to say now, using the region that we identified, the region using the point, because this point here is in the region R. This point is in the region R. So we are going to put it here and say this is a 0 dash -0. So this is -1 times 0. That's going to be 0, then plus 1. So is 0, because 0 plus 1 is actually going to give us 1. So is 0 greater than 1 or less than 1? Is 0 greater than 1 or less than 1? 0 is actually less than 1. So we are going to use the less than inequality. So we are going to 0 is less than or equal to 1. So therefore, this inequality at this particular point here, we are going to say this is going to be y is less than or equal to -x plus 1. So that is the inequality, one of the inequality that satisfies this. So there is one inequality that we need also to mention so that we can be able to finish up with this. There is this line that is passing through horizontally. Yeah, this line that is passing through -3. this line that is passing through -3, and the region is above it. So we're going to say this is the line y is greater than or equal to -3. So we were having a set of 3 inequalities. This one here, y is less than or equal to 2x plus 2, and the second one is this, and also the third one is y is greater than or equal to -3. And if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, this is the time that you need to subscribe so that anytime I'm going to upload further tutorials, you'll be notified. I've noted from the analytics of YouTube, it is indicating that most of us were just watching and we have not subscribed. I don't know whether are you unhappy with this kind of videos I'm making for you. If you are happy, just subscribe, and also you can be able to share to your friends so that also they can be able to join us. We grow the channel as you are benefiting as well. So we need to now look at something else, another question, another topic that you are likely to be tested. How are you supposed to work it out, and which is the best way to approach it in order to garner and earn all the marks, right? All right, let's see. Let's see which is the next topic, which is the next, just guess which is the next topic that's going to appear here. Guess, and you'll tell me down in the comment section whether your guess was right. All right, let's see. 1 2 3, here we are. Take arithmetic series, sequence and series is another common topic that you'll be tested. Let me know whether you are comfortable with it, but I felt that this is another area that we need to look at. And when we are talking about arithmetic series, we need to find nth term. For arithmetic sequence, we have nth term is actually given by the formula a plus n minus 1 into d. Oh, serious, eh? Let me just, nth term in an arithmetic sequence is given by the formula nth term. Let me write it. Nth term is given by the formula. That's not quite. You know, I always have to keep on checking whenever I'm writing whether the camera is just capturing that area. So that's why you find that I just wrote at the top and you are not able to see. Now let me just now focus and move down a little bit. I lower the height. So we're going to say nth term is given by the formula a, where a is the first term, plus n minus 1. N is the number of the term that you're trying to find. D, where D is the common difference. This is one of the most important formula that you need in this topic. The second one is the sum of n terms is actually given by n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d. That is the second formula that we need in this case so that we can be able to work out this. Before we embark into doing this question, something that you need to realize here is that if you're having a sequence 2, 4, 6, 8 like this, then if you are finding the common difference, d is going to be the number in front minus the number which is behind there. So meaning that this is going to be 4 minus 2, or 8 minus 6, and so on, all 6 minus 4. So meaning that whenever you're finding the common difference, you take the number in front minus the number behind. So since in this particular question we are given actually k, 3k over 4, k over 2, and k over 4, then we can say now common difference is going to be what? My common difference is going to be, I'll take 3k over 2 . Now from this sequence, I'll say that my common difference D is going to be 3k over 4 minus k. This is my common difference. So in that case, I can even decide to express it as a single fraction. and this is going to be 3k minus 4k, which is going to be what? Which is going to be actually minus 1 over 4k. That is the common difference, 1 over 4k as the common difference. But we are told that the 15th term is equivalent to 90 plus 2k. That the 15th term is 90 plus 2k. So meaning that we are going to use this formula in order to work out, we check how we are going to arrive at this point so that we can be able to find the value of k. So at that given point, we are going to use this formula here and say the first term from the sequence here, our a is actually k, our d we have found as negative 1 over 4k, and our n is actually 15, so that we can be able to apply this formula in order to try and find the value of k. So meaning at this given point now we can be able to write the formula and apply it. So this is going to be a, our a is actually k plus 15, which is n minus 1 into common difference is negative 4k is equals to 90 plus 2k. 90 plus 2k. We can open the brackets and put the like terms together. So we shall have k plus 14. This is actually going to become negative 14 over 4k equals to 90 plus 2k. So we can decide and put the like terms together here. So if we subtract, if we decide to subtract here, need to subtract 1 minus 14 over 4. This is going to translate to negative 5 over 2k. So this is a negative 5 over 2k minus 2k equals to 90. I've just brought also this part on this side of the equal sign so that we can be able to see what we are going to get at that given point. So so this minus 2 again, we are going to get negative 9 over 2k. So this one is negative 9 over 2k equals to 90. So in order to find the value of k, I'm going to multiply by 2 both sides, divide by negative 9, divide by negative 9, so that this and this will cancel, this and this will cancel out, and then we end up having the value of k. Our k, let me say that I space here, our k is going to be equal to what? Negative 20. K is going to become negative 20 in that particular case. Now that we have negative 20 as the value of k, it means that we can go ahead and try to work out the sum of the first. Okay, let me just first remove this part here so that we can be able to get enough space. Okay, so now that we have the value of k as negative 20, we can be able to find the common difference. Let me just work it here. So we have said that k is actually negative 20, but we had d, and this is equal to the first term a, because if you remember when you were having that question here, this question here, our first term is k. Our first term is k, and k is negative 20. So meaning our first term a is negative 20. Then common difference, we had an expression for the common difference d, and common difference expression is this part here. Remember, common difference. So the common difference expression is this. So we can be able to find the exact value of the common difference, and that is actually negative 1 over 4k that is negative 20. So the common difference is going to be equal to positive 5. So common difference in this question is positive 5. Then now, since we have the first term a, therefore we can say a equals to negative 20, d equals to 5. Then what are we finding? The sum of the first dirty terms. The sum of the first dirty term. So n is actually 30. So in this case, our n is equals to 30. So we are going to apply this formula at this given point so that we can be able to find the sum of the first n terms. So we are going to say this sum of n terms, that is 30 terms, is going to be equal to n over 2, 30 over 2 into brackets 2 times a. Our a, we got it as negative 20 plus 30 minus 1 into the common difference, which is 5. So we are going to say that this is what we are going to do in order to earn our mark. So which means that at this given point we are going to simplify, and this is going to be actually 15 into bracket. This becomes negative 40, and this becomes plus 29 times 5, so that we can be able to put everything in our calculator in order to check what we're getting. So we are having 29 times 5, which is 145. Then 145, so this becomes 15 into negative 40 plus 145. So which means this is going to be 15 times what? Times 105. 105. So if you work it out, you can see here we are getting 1575. 1575 as our final answer. 1575 as our final answer in this case. So before you go to sit for that particular exam, make sure you've mastered how to work out question to do with arithmetic sequence, finding nth term, finding the sum of a given number of terms. So we need to change the gear and look at the next topic that is commonly tested. So I'll keep on repeating. There are gonna be a series of many videos to come for Igcse and A levels. So the best thing to do is to subscribe to Prof Learn YouTube channel, and also you can leave a comment down below if you are getting value, so that I can be able to get feedback and know is this video helping you, is this videos of great help to you. And also it's another way to interact with you, so that I can be able to know what you are thinking about this video. And at the end of the day, if you have any request, I can also be able to get it. So once I've uploaded this, I'll be able to go down, right down. I'm going right down in the comment section to check your comments, and I get to reply to them. So we need to move straight to the next part. And in that game, let's see. Guess which is the next topic. Guess whether your guess is right. Let's see whether your guess is right. All right, let's see. Next topic is transformations. Okay, you are going to meet different questions here for transformations. For instance, before we look at this question, let me just mention something. You are going to be given maybe a function y is equals to 2 So we say that I should not write too high. Yeah, my height is the one that is okay. If you're having a function y equals to x minus 3 squared plus 4. Now this one is actually we say that I should not be writing too high, so this is y equals to x minus 2 raised to power 2 plus 4. Now if you're having a function like this, actually this is completed, the square has been completed here. So when a function is in this format, even if it's having maybe 3 somewhere there, you can be able to actually state the turning point of this function. And the turning point stroke maximum point stroke minimum point, all this you are going to take. Okay, you see this value that you have here, this one you always take the opposite sign. So if it's a negative, you will take the positive when you are stating the turning point. So turning point is going to be 2. But this guy that we are having here change the sign, but here take it that way. So this is going to be 4. So the turning point is 2, 4. Now suppose this was given as f of x. If this was actually given as f of x, and then you are told state the function, state the turning point of f x plus 2. So you can see now the change is happening inside the bracket. So it means in this case only x values are changing. I don't know whether we are together. Only x values are changing. So the turning point of this function that has been transformed from this is going to remain, the y part is going to remain 4. But since this is added there, we are going to subtract 2 from this one, and we are going to have 0. So the new turning point is going to be 0, 4. If it's added, you do the opposite what the function says. So if you are told find f of x minus 1, the turning point here, of course this one also the change is going to take place only for the change the x values, because the change is inside the function. It means this is going to be the turning point is going to be, you are going to add now, because it's minus, you are going to add 1 to this, and this is going to be 3, 4. But if the change is taking place outside the function, for instance, if you are told find the turning point of f of x plus 1, you see now the change is taking place outside the bracket. So it means only y values will change. Only y values will change. Only y values will change. Therefore, now since our original is this one, is going to be 2, the turning point is going to be 2. Then now since this is plus, you do exactly what you are told. If for the y function, you always do what exactly you are told. If it's here plus, you add 1 to this one. If it's minus, you subtract. So the new value is going to be 2, 5. But if there is a transformation change inside here, and it means the 2 values are going to be affected. Okay, now the cap C has the equation y equals to f of x, where f of x, now in this case we are given that f of x is equals to 9 minus 3 into x plus 2 squared, and then write down the coordinate of a, and we are told a is the maximum point. So the coordinate of a is going to be, we say that you are going to check that value and then you change the sign to be negative, and this one is going to be 9. That becomes the coordinate of the turning point. Okay, so that is for part A. And then for part B, the curve C is transformed to a curve S by translation 40. The curve C, of course, this is our actually C, is translated, is transformed by translation 40. Then we are supposed to find the equation of S, but we are given the translation 40, so meaning that x values are moving to the right. So if they are moving to the right, whenever you are going to write this transformation, it means we are going to subtract the value 4 units to the right. This is 4 to the right. So meaning we are going to subtract this 4 when we are writing the formula of C. So meaning the curve now, f of x plus 4 is going to be written as 9 minus 3 into x plus 2, then minus 4. Because this is a positive, we do the opposite as we agreed from the previous section. Minus 3 into x minus 2 as the equation of C. Now the equation of C, the equation of C is this one, the equation of the transformation. Yeah, so this is the new equation of the transformation. All right, so now moving to the next question here. The curve C is transformed to the curve T. The curve T has the equation y equals to. So first we need to write actually C was what? The curve C. C was what? Let's see. The curve C was f of x equals to 9 minus 3 into x plus 2 squared. That was the curve C. Then our new curve, this is actually T. T is f of y is 3 into x plus 2 squared plus 9. So if I can look at this keenly, I'll see that minus 9. So if I can look at this keenly, for us to get this function here, it's like this one has been multiplied by -1. Yeah, so that it can be able to make this positive and make this negative. So it means that f so it can be seen that this is like y is equal to negative f of x. Yeah, this one has been multiplied by -1 in order to make it to be. This is actually, this change is this is a reflection or we can say this is actually y I reflection on y equals to 0. The reflection on the line y is equals to 0. All right, so basically that's what you are supposed to have worked it out here. Means that we can now move to the next part, and in then our next area of interest is a question that is coming from SADS. And if you are not happy with SADS, it's better you be happy with it and you start working on it as now that you have some time, and ensure that at least you know how to rationalize the denominator. You need to understand the few common laws of SADS. So here we are given that 8 over root 5 minus 1, and we are supposed to give the answer in the form root a plus b, where a and b are integers, and we are supposed to show our steps, because you cannot put this in a calculator and say now I have the marks, and you smile all the way from the exam room, say that you earned all the marks. No, you have to show the steps. So we are going to rationalize the denominator by multiplying by the conjugate at the numerator and denominator. So the conjugate, we are going to just change this sign, so it will be root 5 plus 1 multiplied by root 5 plus 1 also. So once we have this, we are going to say this is 8 into root 5 plus 1 over root 5, having a. Now in this is that if you're having 2 times root 3, it's going to be 2 root 3. But if you're having root a times root b, this is going to be a times b, both of them being under the root. So this is what we are going to do. So meaning that if you are having root 3 times root 5, this can be written as root 3 times 5, and that's going to be root 15. Yes, so that one you ought to remember. But if you're having root 3 times root 3, what will it become? That will become what? Root 3 times 3, which is the same as root 9, which is the same as 3. So meaning if you are having root a times root a, the answer is a, from this expression that we have tried to work out to show in that case. So you need to understand the laws of and the rules of SAT. So this time this is going to give us 8 root 5, and this time this is going to, because you are multiplying to this term and also multiplying that to this term, which is going to give us plus 8 at that given point, over, we multiply root 5 times root 5. We have said root a times root a will be a. Root 5 times root 5 is going to give us root 25, and the root of 25 is 5. So this is going to be 5. Then we're going to multiply root 5 times 1 is going to be plus root 5. Then we shall also multiply negative 1 times root 5 is going to be minus root 5. And negative 1 times negative 1 is going to give us minus 1. So we can be able to simplify this now. This is going to be 8 root 5 plus 8. But these two guys here that we have, but these two guys are going to cancel out, and we are going to end up remaining with 5 minus 1, which is going to be 8 root 5 plus 8 over 4. So once we have this, this can be divided for this term and this one. So can divide these two numbers at the numerator. When you have 4 as a single term at the denominator, can divide these two. So this is going to be 8 root 5 over 4 plus 8 over 4. And this is going to translate to 2 root 5 plus 2. So then, which means that if I want to take this number inside the square root, if I want to take this number inside the square root, I'll have to square it, so that I'm having 5 times 4 plus 2 equals to root 20 plus 2 as our final answer in that case. Because if you are having 5 times 4, this can be written as root 5 times root 4, so that you can be able to have the square root of this, and finally you will have 2 root 5. So you need to understand that if you can combine this and express it as a single root, then you can also split this. So meaning when you have a number outside a square root and you want to take it inside a square root, what you ought to do is to square that number and then take it inside the square root. So basically, that's what we were supposed to do in this particular question. And now the next area that we really need to move to is to see the next topic that you can be tested. Let's see, which topic do you think that I'm going to bring on board? Just guess and then wait to see whether your guess was right. Just think of that topic that usually give you a challenge, and you find that's the topic that I'm going to bring on board. Just wait. Okay, I'm almost done. Sometimes it's very difficult and very hard to clean the board here. Thank you for being patient. And now we need to see the next topic that I'm going to bring on board. The next topic is actually transformation, and we are given this question here. The graph y equals to a cos x minus b plus c, that's given from negative 180 all to way to 360, is drawn on the grid, and then we are supposed to find the value of a, b, and c. Now we are going to have a step-by-step. Okay, now given this kind of a graph, remember we are having a graph a cos x minus b plus c, and we're supposed to find the values of a, b, and c. In this case, we need to identify the principal axis, and the principal axis now in this case is this one. This is the principal axis. But remember, if we were drawing this graph without a transformation, just normally, the principal axis would have been this one, the x-axis. Now, the principal axis has been transformed from the blue to the red. How many steps has it gone up? It has gone up actually 2 steps, because from 0 to 2 is 2. So meaning that this is going to be our value of c. But let's just go step by step. So meaning that we are finding a, b, and c. So we can see now the principal axis has been moved 2 steps up, 2 steps up. So it has moved from 0, or red line is the one that's giving us the value of c, and that has been transformed from the principal x-axis. So in order to find the amplitude is the maximum displacement. You can see the way I've indicated the arrow. How high is the graph going from the principal axis, or how far down? So we can be able to say this is our amplitude at this given point, which represents the value of a, and we can see now it's moving from 2 all the way to 5, so the amplitude is actually 3. Then the next part we are going to look at is the value of b. So which means that if this graph, if we had to draw, okay, this is the value of c, we have a there, then now we need to find b. In order to find the value of b, the next thing that we need to do here is to try to draw the normally how this cosine graph will have been appearing on this grid. So cosine start from a maximum point, comes at 90, it is 0, then it goes down like that. So a cosine graph will have looked like this. Normally this cosine graph will have looked like that. So if you notice, the point here has moved backward, the maximum point has moved backward. How many degrees? 90. So if you are moving to the left, you will wish to have positive. If you are moving to the left according to transformation, you need to have positive. So if it has moved negative 90 steps, it means that for us to have x there, it's x, it should be x plus 90, yeah, to indicate that it has moved 90 steps to the left. So meaning that we have to take this value as negative 90 there, so that it's x minus 90, so that it becomes x plus 90. So b is negative 90. So another way that you could have looked at it, the maximum point has been shifted how many steps? To the front. To the front is actually 270. So that our b could have been also 270, because this value as the maximum point has moved from 0 all the way to 270. So to the right, we are going to have our value of b to be 270. So if you substitute it to the transformation, it becomes x minus 270. Yeah. So you are to write just only one answer in this case, in order to earn all your marks. Welcome to another tutorial of Proflan YouTube channel. In this particular video, we are going to have a discussion of topical questions, most common topical questions that will appear in the May June exams, especially in Math Paper 2. So if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing below. If there is any area that you feel that if I go through it, it will be able to accelerate your grade towards grade 9. So one of the area that you need really to look at is converting recurring decimals to fractions, and especially you may be given a question like this that I've displayed here, that use algebra to show that 0.372 recurring, and we can see now the values that are recurring in this values that are recurring here. We are given 0.372. This here is the one that is recurring, meaning that this expression that we 27. So what we are going to do here, we shall keep on moving the decimal in that way until we have a situation whereby if we can subtract the two numbers, we can be able to get a 0 after the decimal point. So because you see now after the decimal point here, we are having 372, here we're having 727. So if we subtract the two, there's no way we're going to get a decimal, so we have to continue. So we need to multiply by, we need to have 100x. 100x, now the decimal must have moved to this point, so this becomes 37.272, because we shall be writing this correct to 3 decimal places. Then can you see anywhere you can be able to subtract and get a 0 after the decimal? This is 372, 727, no, 272, so still not yet. So we need to move the decimal further one step. So is going to be, now the decimal will be at this point, because you'll move with 1,000, we are going to move this decimal 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. So the decimal will be here. So we shall have 372.727. Now, I feel that at this given point, there is a point where it's track we can be able to get a zero after the decimal point. So, for instance, look at this is 727 and this is 727. So, we are going to use this part here. If you subtract this using your calculator, what are we going to get? If you subtract that, you're going to get 369. We're going to get 369.0 because now 7 is going to cancel, and that's the main objective. That's what we wanted in this particular question. So we now have 97. Okay, we have 990 x, which is equal to 369, divide by 990, divide by 990. This will cancel out, and we are going to have x, which is going to be equivalent to my calculator here. Let me just say this is 369 divided by 990. So if you put that in your calculator, can you check? The answer is 41 over 110. So we have our answer as 41 over 110, which is exactly what we were supposed to show in this particular question. So those are the steps. So ensure that you keep on practicing recurring decimals so that you can be able to work out question related to that. Simplify this, and in the process of simplifying this root 125, how can we be able to express it? Root 125 can be written as 5 times 25 plus root 80 can be expressed as 16 times 5 over root 3. So which means that at this given point, see, we are having this 25 here and we are having this 16 here. These are values which you can be able to find. They are square roots. We can be able to say this can also be written as 5 times root 25 plus root 16 times root 5. So meaning that this one is going to be over root 3. Yeah. So let me just try to move this writing here so that we can have enough space to work on this question. So we can be able to say root 25 is actually 5. So this is going to be root 5 times 5 plus root 16 is going to be 4 times root 5 all over root 3. So which means that this is going to translate to what? This is going to translate to 5 root 5 plus 4 root 5 divided by root 3. So I can see that this part now can be written as, because this is root 5, I can add 5 and 4, and I'm going to get 9 root 5 over root 3. Then we're going to rationalize the denominator, and this is going times to be root 3 times root 3. When you rationalize the denominator and you're having a single value like this one, what you are going to do here, you just multiply the weight. But if you are having two terms, you are going to use a conjugate, which we had learned. So meaning that this is going to be actually root 5 times root 5, because both of them are under the square root, because if you're having root a times root b inside, that means root a times b. Yeah, so 5 times 3 is going to give us 9 root 15 at that point, over root 3 times root 3 is going to be 3, then this is once and this is going to be 3 times. So which means that we can simply say this is 3 root 15. So if you want to take these 3 inside here, remember if we were having root 25 here, to take it out we'll find the square root of 25 and take 5 out. That's why we were having actually this 5 at this given point. Oh, let me just maybe illustrate that. If you're having 3 times 25 root, you can say this is going to be 5 root 3. You will find the square root of this number and take it outside the square root. But if you want to take this 5 inside the square root, it means you are going to square this number, then you multiply it by 3, so that you are going to have root 3 times. Now you square 25, you get 25 the way it was here. So you can be able to remove numbers from inside a square root, or you can be able to take them out, or you can take them in. So meaning that now at this given point, if I want to take this 3 in, I'm going to square it, then I multiply by 15. So that would be 9. 3 squared will be 9. Then 9 times 15 is going to give us 135. So this final answer here is going to be root 135. Root 135, the way we were supposed to give it in the form of root n. All right. That a particle is moving along a straight line that passes through the fixed point O. The displacement s meters of the particle from O at time t seconds is given by s equals to, we need to write that, s equals to 2t cubed minus 5t squared plus 6t minus 5. So find the value of t when the acceleration of the particle is 5 meter per second square. So something you need to understand that v is going from acceleration from displacement. If we differentiate a displacement equation, we're going to get velocity. So v is ds dt. So this is the symbol that means differentiate. And when you are differentiating this, you are going to take this power down, you multiply it with the number in front here, that becomes 6t, but the power decreases by 1. You are going to subtract 1, you are going to have 2. Then also we take the power down, it becomes minus 10t, then 2 minus 1, you are going to remain with 1. So we just write t like that. This one is 1 here, we shall take 1 down times 6, it will be actually plus 6. But t minus 1 minus 1, we are going to get 0. And n number raised to 0 is 1. So 6 times 1 is going to be 6, like that. So we have the velocity equation, v equals to 6t squared minus 10t plus 6. So if you are supposed to find acceleration, acceleration is actually dv dt, which is going to be also, this is going to be, we shall take 2 down, and that's going to be 12t, because t 2 minus 1, we're going to get power 1 here, and then we shall have minus, this is like 1 here, you multiply by 10, it will be minus 10. Then 1 minus 1 to be 0, and then t raised to 0 is actually 1. So we are going to have this as an expression for acceleration. So we can say acceleration equals to 12t minus 10. Okay, so once we have that, we are going to, because we are told we are finding the acceleration with the time when acceleration is equal to 5 meter per second square. We were told that we find t when acceleration is this. So meaning that we can say this is 12t minus 10 equals to 5. We can take 10 the other side. We shall have 12t equals to 15. Divide by 12. This implies that our t is going to be 5 over 5 over 4, which is actually equivalent to 1.25 seconds. 1.25 seconds. So basically, that's what you are supposed to do when you are given questions like this. Moving to the next part here, whereby you are given question to do with you can be given so here we are told that we are supposed to find the upper bound of p. Now for you to find p upper bound, we are going plus y upper bound. For you to get p upper bound, you must multiply the upper bound of a times the upper bound of what's in the bracket, because if you are going to use upper bounds, let me just try to adjust this. Yeah, right. So if you can be able to use the upper bounds, you'll be able to get it like that. So let's now try to analyze a was actually equivalent to 8.3. Now, something that you need to ask yourself is the accuracy that is given in these particular questions, because we are told that 8.3 correct to two significant figures. So if it's correct to two significant figures, these actually two significant figures, it means the least unit that can be measured in this given point is 0.1. So least unit, least measurement is 0.1, because it's correct to two significant figures like this. So which means that in order to get the absolute error plus or minus, we are going to divide this by 2. The least unit divide by 2, and this is going to be 0.05. For C, here we are told that is correct to one significant figure. Correct to one significant figure. So we are having 2 plus least unit for one significant, correct to one significant figure. The least unit here, because this is actually 2, the least unit in one significant figure is going to be 1. So 1 divided by 2 is going to be 0.5. So it's plus or minus 0.5. Then we have y, and the value of y is actually 15, and to the nearest 5, it means the least unit that can be measured is actually 5. So to know what we need to add or subtract as the absolute error is this 5 divided by 2, which becomes 2.5. So in each of them, we need to find the upper bound, and the upper bound in this case we are going to add the absolute error. So this is going to be 8.35. This one upper bound is going to be 2.5, and upper bound of this one is going to be 17.5. So meaning now for us to actually find p upper bound, this is going to be equivalent to a upper bound, which is 8.35 into bracket c, which is 2.5, then plus 17.5. So if we can be able to put this in a calculator, we are going to say that this is actually 8.35 into brackets 2.5 plus 17.5. So if you work it out, you are going to get nothing other than 167. So the final answer becomes 167 as the upper bound of P. So until tomorrow, another one, more topics to come. consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload another tutorial, you'll be notified. See you in the next video.